It's strange how a single sentence can shatter a man. For Nathan Cole, that sentence was simple, cruel, and it hit him harder than any storm ever could. I don't want the kids, Nathan. I want you to suffer. Those words came from Sabrina Hale, his ex-wife, and they still echoed in his mind like a curse he couldn't outrun. And now, in 4 weeks, a courtroom in Riverton Bay would decide if he was going to lose the two people he loved most, his twin daughters, Lily and Lauren. They were only 7. They shouldn't have had to understand what losing a parent even meant. But they did. Kids always know. Nathan's life felt like it was crumbling piece by piece, and that night, driving down a rain-soaked highway in a beat-up Honda that wheezed on every turn, he wasn't sure how much more he could take. He gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles faded white. The rain hammered the windshield like the world was daring him to break. He should have been home reading bedtime stories, tucking the girls in, brushing their soft brown curls behind their ears, promising things would get better even though he wasn't sure they ever would. But he couldn't be home. Not tonight. Not when missing one more shift meant one more strike against him in court. Mrs. Alvarez, the neighbor who watched the twins while he worked, had looked at him with that same pitying expression she'd worn for months. The twins had sensed something too. Lauren clung to him earlier that evening, small arms wrapped tight around his waist. "Daddy, stay." Just 2 words, yet they cracked him open. But he couldn't. He needed the money. He needed the overtime. He needed something, anything, to show the court he wasn't the failure Sabrina kept painting him to be. The highway stretched on endlessly, dark and empty, not unlike the future he feared was waiting for him, until something flickered through the storm. Hazard lights, weak, blinking, desperate. As he got closer, he saw her, a pregnant woman standing beside a car with a blown-out tire, drenched, shivering, completely alone. Nathan slowed. His foot hovered over the gas pedal. Every instinct argued with him. "You can't stop. You're already 20 minutes late. Keep driving." But for some reason he didn't. He couldn't. He pulled over. The old Honda groaned in protest, as if sharing his misery. When he stepped out, the cold rain felt like needles stabbing through his clothes. "Ma'am, I can help." The woman turned, relief washing over her face like she'd been holding her breath for half an hour. "Thank you, please. I've been stuck here forever." Her name, as he would learn much later, was Elena Ward. But right now she was just a terrified stranger clutching her pregnant belly. Nathan knelt, inspecting the tire. Rusted lug nuts. Of course. As his jeans soaked through, his phone buzzed. Probably his boss. Probably another cut to his already shrinking paycheck. He didn't check. He kept working, because even when he had nothing left to give, helping people was the one thing that still made him feel like himself. "You're saving my life," the woman said through trembling breaths. Nathan didn't answer. He didn't feel like anyone's hero. He felt like a man barely holding on, a man who'd been drowning for so long he forgot what air tasted like. But 10 minutes later, the tire was changed. She tried to hand him money, soggy bills pulled from her purse, but Nathan shook his head. "Keep it. You need it more than I do." She stared at him, stunned. But before she could say anything else, he was already back in his car, pulling into the storm once again. When Nathan finally got home, it was past 3 a.m. The apartment was quiet, small, humble, but it was home. Lily and Lauren were sleeping in their shared room, their matching night lights casting a warm glow. Nathan stood there in the doorway just watching them breathe. Their innocent faces made his heart ache. Because in 4 weeks, if Sabrina won, this room would be empty. And his life, meaningless. 3 years earlier, things had been different. Not perfect, but salvageable. Until they weren't. Nathan caught Sabrina cheating more than once, and always, she blamed him. Accused him of being weak, boring, pathetic. When she finally walked out, she didn't look back. She didn't call. Didn't send birthday cards. Didn't care. For 3 whole years, she was a ghost. And honestly, Nathan preferred it that way. The girls were happier without her chaos. But then he lost his job. Downsizing, they said with a tight-lipped smile. And 3 weeks later, Sabrina reappeared like a storm he never saw coming. Not because she wanted the girls, but because she wanted control. Because she wanted revenge. Nathan didn't have money. Didn't have a strong lawyer. Didn't have anything but the truth, and the truth didn't matter without proof. Sabrina and her expensive attorney shredded him in court. And the judge? Well, He didn't look like he was leaning Nathan's way. 2 weeks after the night of the storm, there was a knock at Nathan's door. He opened it to find a woman in a crisp blazer, clipboard in hand. "Good afternoon, Mr. Cole. I'm here for your custody evaluation." His stomach twisted. CPS. The last thing he needed. But when she looked up, Nathan felt the room tilt. It was her. The woman from the storm, but she acted like she'd never seen him before. "May I come in?" she said. Cool and professional. Not a flicker of recognition. Nothing. Nathan thought maybe he'd been imagining it. Maybe exhaustion had twisted his memory. She walked through the apartment, taking notes. Asking questions, her voice emotionless. When she finished, she handed him a business card. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Cole. You'll hear from the court soon." Before he could stop himself, he blurted, "Do I know you?" She froze just long enough to confirm his suspicion. But then she said calmly, "I don't believe so. Have a good day." And just like that, she was gone. Her real name was Elena Ward, and she remembered him perfectly. That night, sitting alone in her car 2 blocks away, Elena replayed the moment Nathan had pulled over to help her. How soaked he had been, how tired, how kind, how undeserving he looked of the mountain of suffering the case file said he was facing. She owed him. And more importantly, she saw the truth. Sabrina's case smelled wrong. Manipulative. Manufactured. Elena had seen plenty of parents weaponize their kids out of spite. But this one felt personal. 2 weeks later, at the first hearing, just as the judge was about to rule, Elena stood up in the back of the courtroom. "Your Honor, I request an adjournment." She stated there were inconsistencies in the previous evaluation. She needed more time. Sabrina's lawyer nearly exploded. But the judge granted it. Just like that. Nathan had 2 more weeks. That same day, Sabrina cornered him in the hallway. "You think you want something today?" she hissed. "You think this changes anything?" Nathan, bewildered, whispered, "Why are you doing this? You don't even want them." And Sabrina smirked, cold and cruel. "I don't want them. I want to destroy you." Nathan felt the world stop. If he had recorded that moment, he could have ended everything. But he hadn't. And Sabrina walked away victorious, her heels clicking like a countdown clock to his doom. What Nathan didn't know was that Elena was standing behind the door and heard every word. Over the next 2 weeks, Elena worked in secret. She followed Sabrina, dug through financials, interviewed neighbors, and what she found chilled her. Drugs, escort work, fraudulent pay stubs, and worst of all, she discovered Sabrina had slept with Nathan's old supervisor, the one who fired him and manipulated him into doing it. Elena built a case so airtight even Sabrina's high-priced attorney couldn't wiggle out. And the night before the hearing, Elena left everything, every recording, every document, in an unmarked envelope at Nathan's door. The next morning, Nathan collapsed onto the floor as he listened to the recordings. Someone had saved him, but he didn't know who. At court, Sabrina's confidence shattered the moment the evidence was presented. The judge's expression hardened. Her lawyer stuttered excuses. But it was done. Full custody to Mr. Cole. And Sabrina? She lost control. Completely. She screamed. Accused everyone of conspiring against her. Bailiffs dragged her out while she shrieked threats. The girls were terrified. Nathan held them close, whispering that everything was okay, even though his hands were trembling. As the courtroom emptied, Nathan looked around for Elena, but she was already gone. 3 weeks later, life looked different. Nathan got his job back after Sabrina's scheme was exposed. His supervisor was fired. He even got back pay. But something felt unfinished. Something missing. One Saturday afternoon, while the girls chased each other in the park, a soft voice spoke behind him. "Hi, Nathan." He turned, and it was her. Elena Ward. Only now she wasn't in a blazer. She wore jeans and a soft sweater, her hair down, curling at the edges. And in her arms, a newborn baby boy. Her son. "It's you," Nathan whispered. "It's me." She smiled. She explained everything. How she'd recognized him. How she'd heard Sabrina's confession. Why she'd helped him. Because he'd stopped in the storm when no one else did. 3 cars passed. "Me that night," she said quietly. "You didn't." And that changed everything. After that day, they saw each other often. Every weekend turned into every other day. The twins adored baby Mason, Elena's son. They treated him like family long before Nathan and Elena realized they were becoming one. Their relationship grew slowly, gently. Shared dinners, long talks, silent understanding. Until one afternoon by the lake, the twins wandered off on purpose to give them space. Nathan finally confessed his feelings, and Elena admitted she felt the same. Their first kiss was soft, trembling, like two people afraid to hope. But they did. They hoped, and they healed. A year later, under string lights in a small garden, Nathan and Elena said their vows. The twins stood proudly, beside them in lavender dresses. Baby Mason giggled in Elena's arms. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, the kids cheered so loudly the whole neighborhood heard. Later that night, sitting together on the porch, hands intertwined, Elena whispered, "Thank you for stopping that night." Nathan kissed her forehead. "And thank you for saving me." Two broken people, finally whole. Two people who found each other at the exact moment they needed it most. Because sometimes the smallest choices ripple into the biggest blessings. A man stops in a storm. A woman risks everything for the truth. And together, they rewrite their lives. So here's my question for you. Do people like Nathan deserve second chances? Or was he just lucky someone finally saw his worth? And what about Sabrina? Punishment or mercy? Comment below and tell me what you think. Your story might help someone else believe in kindness again.